Yeah, Tesla Q4 production estimate. We doing this or what? It's going to be about 419. I'm Brian. Welcome to my Tesla weekend. So this number is already out of date because I went ahead and added the semi in. So let's skip the drama, shall we? World's got enough clickbait. So what are we looking at? Well, I took the difference, the growth, 12%. I said Fremont S and X are up 12%. Wait times are down on S and X. In fact, they are available. They are in inventory kind of everywhere. And I think we're going to see a price reduction on those because the refresh wasn't quite as refreshing as some buyers had hoped. You know, before the refresh, you could have got your Model S for, what was it, $69,420? Something like that. And now it's $104,000. It's a different car, but is it a $50,000 different car? Some people believe it is, some do not. Anyway, production up a little bit. There have been some exports, but we'll see. Fremont, 3 and Y. So I'm just looking at the incremental change over time. Fremont's still got some efficiencies that they can draw out, that they can use to improve their numbers. It's getting slightly better. We're always approaching the maximum, but we're approaching it. We're approaching it. We're not there. And this might be a tad optimistic, but I'm confident that if it is overshooting, it'll be made up for in other factories. Shanghai 3 and Y. I'm coming in low compared to everybody else out there, 217,500. And even that, I believe, is plenty high. So we know what the first 2 months are. October, November, 87,706 and 88,654. So for December, I'm saying it's about half that. It's about 41,140. And that's because it has been real quiet, so quiet in Shanghai. A lot of ships have gone out, and we're not seeing the factory running all the time. But we know there has been some shutdown. But even before that, some parts may have been constrained coming from other parts of China. And the factory just hasn't been as busy. So when I invested my time to do the counts I do, they gave me very dire numbers. The factory was not busy. But it was slow enough that I'm not confident that my estimation skills scale in a linear fashion to get us quite where we're going in terms of that. So I still think that's a reasonable number. Berlin Model Y. Well, that's too low. We know they hit 3,000 a week. That right there would be 36,000. We know before that they had a week when they hit 2,500. Yes, but we don't know that that those rates were sustained. Something Tesla famously does is when they hit a milestone, they'll do stress tests. Can we get to this many? Even if just for a little bit. Do a burst rate. So I think these numbers are accurate. And I did put the 420 in there just to be a smart ass. It was actually, my real number was 25,400, but I was like, hey man, I get one. Texas Model Y, it's a few thousand behind. And then, of course, I had to add the semi, 36 units. 37, what is it? It kind of doesn't matter. I was going to leave it off, but I figured it's pretty good. So that puts me at 419,088. Now, I do my numbers before I look at anyone else's because I'm always afraid that other people's numbers will impact mine. There have been quarters where I have been the outlier and I was wrong. There have been quarters where I was the outlier and I was the only one who was right. But I'm right in the ballpark. And what I put out a day or two ago was actually lower than this. It was 417 was the number I put out on Patreon. 417, 500-ish was the number I put out on Patreon. But that was, but I went back and looked at Shanghai and that's where my revision came. I revised Shanghai upwards. I think based on feelings, not math. Based on, I think it's going to be, 41,000 for December is more accurate than what I had before. So I've now looked at the other analysts, and I'm low. I am like the lowest of anyone that I saw. And I've seen one production estimate of 450. I hope that one's right. That would be so... I hope that everyone else who is estimating higher is right, and I hope that I'm the one who's wrong. But look at this compared to previous quarters. 305, that was a good quarter. 258, Shanghai was kind of shut down for that. 365, a record. 419. I don't see going from 365 to 450 in a quarter. That seems like too large of a jump to me. It's nice that we're no longer battery constrained. It's nice that the chip shortage appears to have eased, unless your car has a blue oval on the front of it. So that's where we're at. Those are my numbers. So, let's thank everyone who's watching this over the weekend, and thank the patrons at the same time, because we're going to get into the Q&A. We're going to go over the comments and all that good stuff. Yeah, it's good enough. Well, there it is, and there you go. If you want to watch the complete 30-ish minute version, head on over to the second channel, My Tesla Live, where the whole thing goes out each Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific. Yeah, join in the conversation. Thanks as always to everyone else. Like, subscribe, do the usual thing, and stay tuned, stay juicy, and I can't wait to hear from you clever robots on the live channel.